let's give a warm round of applause to the one and only Tao Lin.
I'm gonna try without the microphone. I've tried it at the other readings, it's usually better. But it seems like I'll just try for a second. Paul played chess one Friday with Barry, who suggested Paul's second move. Barry knew more about chess, so was being helpful, Paul thought, and did as suggested for his third move also. Then watched an extremely happy Barry dash through the rectangular classroom telling groups of classmates he'd beaten Paul in a 4-move checkmate. Paul told 3 classmates Barry had, quote, tricked him, then returned to the floor and put the chess pieces away, and with the sensation of seeing a spider crawl out of view inside his room, felt himself re-assimilating Barry into the world as a kind of robot-like presence he would always need to be careful around and would never comprehend. In 3rd grade, one morning, Paul finished telling something to his friend Chris, who was strangely unresponsive for a few seconds. Then, with an exaggeratedly disgusted expression, told Paul his breath smelled, quote, horrible, and, quote, brush your teeth. Then turned 180 degrees in his seat to talk to someone else. Paul mechanically committed to always brushing his teeth, and adjusted his view of Chris to include him with Barry and 90 to 95% of the people he'd met as separate and unknowable. In 4th grade, Paul spent 2 days with Lori, a 2nd grader in his neighborhood. Lori kissed Paul's cheek in a tree, then in her room showed him a Mickey Mantle card from her father, who'd said Mickey Mantle had the record for most RBIs. Paul, who collected baseball cards, said Hank Aaron had the record for most RBIs. Lori said he was probably right because he was really smart. At dusk the next day, rollerblading on the longest street in the neighborhood, Lori said she needed to try harder than Paul to go the same speed because her legs were shorter, which Paul thought was insightful. Yeah. The way I wrote this book, I viewed my memory as the first draft, just like a huge first draft that I've memorized and like know how everything connects. That way, it's easier to make it believable, even if there's things that barely make any sense, because they're all coming from something that makes sense.
Thank you.
He doesn't have like books about literature. He has a memoir about going to South America to find, I think it's DMT, but then he finds psilocybin mushrooms and becomes really interested in that. Then he has another book that is a theory of evolution that says 10,000 years ago the some humans would eat mushrooms by accident, and when you eat a low dose of mushrooms, your peripheral vision gets better. So they had an advantage in hunting. And then the other effects of mushrooms, like they would have orgies, he said. So somehow out of that, consciousness emerged 10,000 years ago. he has a thing with octopus, where he said he thinks octopus shoot out ink to, like, so other octopus can't see what they're conveying. Because octopus, their language is seen, it's not heard. And there's no interpretation. Like, if I was an octopus, you'd all, and I would look at myself, and everyone would know exactly what I meant. But if I say a word, you'd all have different ideas in it. He views history meaning like culture that has been recorded. He views history as us being pulled towards a point in the future, after which we can't imagine what it will be like.